One and all in one?
All in one.
There it is. Make sure your mic is plugged in this time.
Yeah, right. Hey, I remember last time, kind of. Last night. Yeah, no, I had a... It took me a second, but I got it. Here we go. Okay, good TV. Can you hear me now? Okay. Bring that up.
Oh, see that food right there? We got to start doing that again.
Yes, indeed. Where am I? I'm right here. I don't know why, but... Oh, hey, there we are.
It is.
Let's share it real quick. And then we'll be off like a turd of hurdles. Okay, so... There we go. Rock and... Come on, let's roll. Here we go. Oh, dirty, rotten scoundrel. You gonna be like that to me? Yeah, here you go. Let's try this. Hi, everyone. Yep, that's us. We're just here trying to make the
Office Space fax machine.
No.
Let's do exactly this.
There.
Uh-oh.
What the dickens? Okay, well, we're going to cancel that and try it one more time. There we go. Just share now. Okay.
There we go.
We can hear
Riveting television. There it is.
Riveting television is right. Okay, here we... we should check to make sure the microphone's...
Oh, yeah, I probably said.
Yeah, there you go. 3, 2... Good afternoon, good morning, and good evening. This is Kinetic Chaos Podcast number 70. I am your host, Will, joined as always by my good friend, Wes.
Right here I am.
He is to my left. We are in the secret underground bunker this fine Thursday evening, or for those listening tomorrow or any other day. That'd be Friday. Today is Thursday, January 10th. The world is on fire as usual, but we're not, and that's a good thing, right?
That's right.
How you
Hopefully
been doing?
we're not.
Yeah, I know,
don't
right?
see any flames coming yet here, so...
Well, we'll have some flames, but
yeah,
exactly right. Don't worry about that. You know we're always good for it. So what's been going on? Anything fun?
No, not too much. Just
too much?
plodding along. Plodding along through the work week.
Yeah, how's that going? Anything
good.
exciting?
It actually, well, nothing exciting yet, but that actually goes into my something good.
Yeah, let's start with something good that happened to you.
I have one more day of work left, and then I'm staring down the barrel of a 4-day weekend.
What?
So
Whoa!
Really excited.
Hold on now. You didn't tell me this.
Oh yeah, Monday and Tuesday off.
What do we have anything fun planned?
No, a whole lot of nothing. Just doing some projects around the house and running some errands.
Nice little
Monday.
Yeah, there we go. There we go.
But yeah, so it's my kind of vacation. Take a couple days off and just kind of relax. And
that's when you know you're middle aged. You look forward to not doing anything, right? You're right. Like, sweet, I don't have to go anywhere. I don't have anyone to talk to.
That's right.
Anything like that. I'm looking at our frame here, and we're kind of off kilter a little bit. We're fine. We'll deal with it. Everyone out there can see less of me and more of you. That's a good thing. So, well, something good that happened to me. I don't think I brought this up last week, but Kim and I started dance lessons, and we are having a lot of fun with that. In fact, we have our third dance lesson this evening, and that has been an absolute blast because it's just one of those things that it took years for Kimberly to talk me into it. But once she did, and once we made the commitment to doing it and everything, I have to say I'm very, very pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, cool.
It's not one of those things that, like I said, I was overly excited about to begin with, the first however many years we've been married, but I've warmed up to it, and that was one of the gifts I got her for Christmas this year, and I had it all set up and everything so that, I gave her a card for Christmas, which is another bonus for me. But she loves getting cards. Wow. So she's a big fan of cards. And so wrote that in there, and we started last week. We're learning, currently we're learning the bachata, we're learning the tango, and the waltz. So I'm not a great dancer, but I definitely think this is obviously going to help me quite a bit. I've got the this move down, the classic
the hustle.
Yeah, is that the hustle? I have no idea, but I call it the Chinook Winds Dance Club at 11:30 after drinking all day dance. That's the one I got down. So anyway, that I'm expanding my horizons when it comes to that, and I'm very excited about it because I think that everyone can. I mean, especially if it's a spouse type thing, it's nice to you get to be close, and you have to work together and all those things. So, in my opinion, it's only a positive for you. So it's been a lot of fun, and we got a whole bunch more lessons coming up, and maybe we'll have a big dance off. Kim and I can do it. No way, that's not going to happen. You're not going to find us on the KCP version of Dancing with the Non-Stars.
There you go.
That's what we could do. Exactly. Well, let's get into a good news story here. Excuse me as I almost coughed to death. Sorry. We got firefighters watch a child and clean the house after the mother was transported to the hospital.
Yeah, so it doesn't sound like a good news story, but it
come off as a really
starts off
one.
kind of bad, but it ends up good. So this woman was doing dishes and somehow broke a wine glass, and it severed an artery in her wrist. And so literally they said she was spraying blood all over the kitchen because it hit an artery. So called the fire department. They get in. She was holding like a towel or something on her arm, but it was still just spraying blood everywhere. So they got a tourniquet on her. Her husband, I think, worked kind of far away, so it was taking him a while to get home. So they loaded her into the ambulance, took her to the hospital, but they had a young son at home, and so couple firefighters like, we'll just hang out here with the kid until the dad gets home. We'll watch the kid. So a couple firefighters stayed at the house while she went to the hospital to watch the kid. And while they were waiting for the father to get home, they cleaned up all the blood.
Oh, wow.
So they talked to the woman afterwards, and she's fine, by the way. Everything was
That's
good.
what we want to hear.
That was
she's all right.
The end of the story. But they talked to her afterwards, and she said that she specifically remembers like there being blood all over, because she was literally spraying blood. There was blood all over the walls.
You got to stop saying that, man. That is killing me.
And so she came home from the hospital fully expecting to have to go clean her kitchen. And she said she walked in her kitchen, she was stunned. It was spotless. The firefighters had cleaned up every last speck of blood, and she couldn't believe it.
Either that, or they called in the guy from Pulp Fiction. What the hell was his name? Harvey Keitel. That was had the banana slug shirt on there. Well, no, that's a great story. I've got kind of a relatable one. Kim's mom did the same thing. It wasn't with a wine glass, it was with a jar, and she cut her foot, and it did the same thing. It just filleted it, and it was a bad deal. She wasn't going to go to the doctor, but she ended up getting stitches and all that good stuff. So that's I would like to see that ended well, and that the firefighters took care of the child and things like that. So it's again, we just want to remind everyone that they're in this world of fire that we live in, that we do have good people with good hearts and all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So we're going to jump into the hot sheet before we do the heavy lifting before we... Actually, you want to talk about our programming change real quick?
Yeah, go ahead.
We'll we have to announce that Tech 2 is going to be on hiatus, possibly permanent hiatus, but for right now they're on hiatus. They've got a lot of stuff going on in their lives, things like that, so they've decided to take a break, which I totally understand. Jon has got a world that he's probably not quite ready to jump into yet with this company and things like that, so that will be very interesting. I do assume that down the road we'll have them, if they decide not to move on, as guests.
Yeah,
I can definitely see, especially if Jon comes up here. We had a heck of a good time when he came in and we did the barbecue episode and stuff like that, and I would love to get his take on financial stuff, as I am predicting the meltdown will begin soon, and I'm not trying to be Mr. Rain on the Parade, but reality is what we live in. So, and David, of course, has all kinds of wonderful things to say. So, and I'm sure we'll be back over at his house, so we'll get him to jump on. Anyway, we've got Sears again. Sears is basically the cat of major companies.
That's exactly what I was just going to say. The whole 9 Lives deal.
Yeah, and why though? Why that's you and I talked about this the other day. Why do they want to continue to be safe?
There's got to be something there
is
underneath the surface that the public is not seeing. So
absolutely. Well, Eddie's going to make money on this one way or another. There's no other reason anyone would do that. It's not out of the goodwill of his heart.
Yeah. So this is kind of a follow-up because we talked about this last time. He had proposed 2 offers, one of which was for a higher dollar amount to keep more stores, and one a B offer was for a lesser dollar amount to keep lesser stores as a backup plan. So both of those offers got presented to the creditors. They shot them both down and said no. So this last Monday or Tuesday, they went to bankruptcy court, and it was supposed to be all she wrote. That was just for the judge ordering, the final liquidation orders, and they're done kind of thing. And he convinced, I guess, his attorneys called in to, I don't know how they go through the channels. They were supposed to have a 10 a.m. Eastern court hearing, and they got like a 3-hour bump.
Recess?
Yeah, they delayed the proceedings for 3 hours, probably to try to cobble together some more stuff. And so when the proceedings finally did happen, they were able to talk the judge into a 1-week extension.
Really?
And the judge, with the caveat, I guess they had
the caveat or the caveat.
Caveat. They had a debt payment coming due tomorrow of like $192 million. So the judge said, if you'll front the money now to pay that debt payment of $192 due this Friday, if you pay that right now, we'll let you come back next week and present a new offer. So basically, they're giving him a stay of execution kind of thing. And the only way that the judge allowed this delay of potential ending of the company to drag on for another week is if Lampert made this $190 million debt payment, which he did. So I think it's Tuesday or Wednesday of next week they are due back in court, where he's either supposed to present a revised offer that the creditors will say yes to, or if they reject it, then supposedly they're going to shut it down again. So it may be toast next week, in which case he pays $190 million in a debt payment this Friday and still shuts it down next week, which is kind of a waste of money.
That's why there is something going on in the background that makes me believe. What is the reason for putting up $192 million if you don't have a way, an out to get that back?
Right.
I don't know that there's a return to sender, or if he's just writing a check that's going to bounce. Yeah. But in some way, shape, or form, there's a reason for this, and I kind of wish that we were privy to that, but we're not.
It would be interesting to know what the behind the scenes, because on paper this is just a dead fish. I mean, why would anybody want to keep pumping money into this company that's been losing money for decades now?
Yeah. I mean,
why do you keep wanting to resuscitate this thing?
Well, I think what their plan is to start this thing called a website. Yeah. And they're going to have a website, and they're going to sell things
on that one.
Yeah. Well, I just want to see Bezos just swoop in and buy it. Yeah. Just buy it, and then turn all of those into giant Amazon factories of love machines. No. We'll get into Bezos in a little bit. Anyway, Ruth Bader Ginsburg has missed a Supreme Court argument for the first time ever in 23 years. Am I right?
25, I think. This actually, maybe she's going into her 26th year, but the first time in 25 years. And this is for her ongoing cancer treatment. This is the 3rd recurrence of cancer she's had. The first 2, she was able to schedule her treatments around the court proceedings, so she didn't miss any time. But this time it was a little more serious, so she's having to take more time off, and therefore she has missed now 2 days worth of arguments. Now this is fueling more speculation. Is she gonna, retire and resign, basically? Because she has said in numerous interviews over the last few years that as soon as she can't give it her all, as soon as she can't dedicate 100% of her life to the court, then she's going to step away.
As well as she should.
Right. So now they're thinking, well, if she's missing time because of cancer treatment, if this is too strenuous, this is too much for her, is she going to, in fact, go ahead and bail now? So that's kind of the next, waiting for the shoe to drop. Is she going to retire? I
mean, I don't know what her treatment's like. I have no idea what chemotherapy she's on, or if she's on what, if it's immuno, whatever it is. But having spent the time in oncology that I have, seeing what those people go through is, it's gut-wrenching, first of all, from the perspective of somebody not going through it, but it takes everything out of you, and it makes you, your mind fog. They call that, it's chemo fog, and because of what those chemicals do to you, you're napalming the body, and so I can definitely see why she took a break to do this, but it's I mean, if she's not up to this is the highest court in the land. Yep. She has a post that only very few people in their lifetime get a chance to even be considered for, and so she has to take into account the bigger picture, which is she's affecting many lives.
Right.
And so we wish her the best, and hopefully that everything is successful for sure. So, well, next up, Amazon is worth a little bit of money.
Yeah.
Evidently.
And we talked about ways back when Apple topped the $1 trillion market cap, and they've since taken a little bit of a tumble in their stock price, and they're now actually have fallen to third. So Amazon is now, as Will said on the lead, Amazon is now the most valuable company in terms of market capitalization at $797 billion. Microsoft is number 2 at 784, and then Apple is just under $700 billion. So you figure Apple was over $1 trillion last year, and so they've fallen, $300 billion. Yeah. So they've
all why? Why? Do you know why? Because of the iPhone.
Yeah.
Because you
Sales
cannot.
Are tanking on that.
Well, they have to. I mean, the whole idea they've basically designed themselves out of profits, because now we all know about functional obsolescence and things like that these machines, that everything we're working on here is Apple,
right? And
so, but they run so well, which is why we spend the extra money to buy them. But they also, going back to the functional obsolescence, if it's years away, you have no reason to go out and buy a new one and spend $1,000 on it, or $1,500, whatever the new XR is. XS, I have no idea what the hell those are, or what they mean. But to see that cost, I mean, that's a barrier to entry. And since the phone companies, sorry to go off kind of on a tangent on this, but to see what the phone companies, they've removed the whole new every two, and now you're actually paying, even though it's 0% interest, they're financing these phones so that people can get them immediately. But if you're paying $45 or $50 a month for a phone, I mean, that's a big hit. I know that when I'm dealing with mortgages and stuff, $50 a month that's a significant amount for somebody. And so if you're spending that much on a phone, so going back to, people are saying, well, I'm not going to go buy a new one every year. And so you saw their stock drop significantly. The one thing I did see, somebody sent me an article the other day about how the AirPods are going to be the next revolutionary thing, because and it's not so much the AirPods, just the Bluetooth headphone generation. What it allows people to do, and in terms of podcasts, music, and all that, you can go to work, you don't have to have your phone on you, and you can have these pods in, and you can do your work all day long while listening to something. And so that should be somewhat of an uptick for them, but they've got to come out with a new product that is life-changing, like the iPhone was.
Yeah,
I mean,
I've got a few folks that I work with that have the Bluetooth headsets, and they just leave their iPod or iPhone on their desk, and they can get up and go to the printer, and then go over here, and never have to take their headphones off and just keep listening the whole time. So.
Brandon's been sick the last couple of days, so I went to the gym by myself. Pardon me. So I went to the gym by myself. I just threw my AirPods in, and I walk around. I don't have to carry my phone with me. Just walk around, and what's cool is I just remove, if I want to talk to somebody, I just remove it. It stops the song. I tap on either ear to tell it to advance a song, bring up Siri, whatever I want to do. So they're really handy in that aspect. But kind of going back to Amazon being the most valuable, I think they have, if we're looking at the long term, in my opinion, the longest trajectory to grow, because they're not hampered by having a hardware device stopping them from earning. They have, Amazon is huge, and they're becoming more integral in our daily lives. Constantly, and so everything is we touch in some way, shape, or form. A lot of things in this room came from Amazon. And so, in your kitchen, your living room, doesn't matter what it is. And so, as long as that kind of stuff is occurring, the world, or the price is endless. It really is. They're going to probably split the I would say continue to split the stock, but
yeah.
I mean, they're not going to make it, or they're just going to go to Class A, B, C,
right.
Like Berkshire.
Yeah, Berkshire Hathaway. Yep.
So, anyway, well, number 4 here, Scott Israel has been. There was Twitter was on fire. Was it Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, and there's actually a follow up because there's some conflicting reports.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I even as today, conflicting as to whether he's the Broward County sheriff that was responsible for during the shooting down
Parkland
there.
Shooting,
Parkland, and whether he's been suspended or if DeSantis, is that his name?
Ron DeSantis, the governor. Yeah, so that's the initial story, was that new Florida governor Ron DeSantis had suspended him, and then like a day later, the story came out from the governor's office saying, no, that's not true. We haven't suspended him. And then like you're saying, then there's rumors of him being not just suspended, but totally removed from office. I mean, it's still kind of murky. I don't know. But basically, he hopefully maybe is on the way out, given the way he handled the situation and all the gaffes and costly mistakes he's made over this course of time.
Yeah, and it's been huge. The big thing, in my opinion, is he's made mistakes, and that was horrible, absolutely. But his unwillingness to accept responsibility and to put that responsibility on others that's outrageous, in my opinion. Yeah. It's one of those things that, to see somebody do that and to continually double down. I mean, he's Derrick Rosing this with kill yourself types, when Rose said that. But to see him constantly do that, and as someone in a leadership position, if my boss was that, obnoxious, frankly, I don't know if I would even want to stay with the company, because what else is going on?
Yeah.
If this is how he handled Parkland, what is he doing with the quote-unquote minor stuff, whether it's a sexual assault from a nobody or whatever it may be? He's willing to throw anything under the rug.
Yep.
So that's sad that
stuff.
We have to even talk about that, and that he didn't remove himself from office. Yeah, exactly. I mean, that you kind of have to fall on the sword at some point. You screwed up, own it.
Yeah.
So I really like this story, and I hope it ends up being true that he gets the $1.7 million. This is it won't
be him; it'll be his estate.
Okay.
But no, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, this penny from. Go ahead. This
is a rare 1943 copper penny. There was a mistake.
The copper penny from Portland.
Yeah, not that one.
Okay.
It was a mistake in the U.S. Mint. They accidentally put some copper stock in there and started pressing pennies, and somebody realized, whoop, we screwed up, and so they stopped the run. And I don't know how many were initially made, but the estimate now is that there are only about a dozen left known in existence.
Really?
And this guy who has since passed away, he was a boy back in 1947, so the penny's in 1943, so 4 years after the fact. In 1947, he bought his school lunch in his cafeteria, and he got this penny back as part of his change from the cafeteria. And he thought it looked a little funny, and so he took it home at the time and did some research and found out that it was rare. And of course, back then it's not that valuable back in 1947. Mm-hmm. So, but it was a collector's item, so it was cool. So he hung on to it, and then it became so famous. Just a little ways down the road that Henry Ford was big into collecting coins, and he was trying to get his hands on as much of these as he could, and so he was offering a free car.
Oh, really?
If you had one of these pennies and you gave him this penny, he'd give you a free Ford. So this kid, who at that time, I think by that time he was in his late teens, early 20s, thought about taking Ford up on the offer, but he decided, no, I'm going to keep it instead. So he kept it all these years, and he has now passed away, and he's still in possession of this penny. And so now it's going to go up for auction as part of his estate, and the estimates on it are $1.7 million.
Yeah, and I think they were saying that they still have to prove it, that it is one of these
legit. Right.
What I found really interesting was the fact that they ran them. How do you do that with the metal? Because they were conserving the copper for the war. Mm-hmm. And so how did somebody make the decision to, like, hey, I'm going to load up 4 pounds of copper and run these pennies? Right. And then, oh wait, hold on, pump. That's a lot of copper.
Yeah.
Those types of things interest me anyway. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I hope everything works out for them and that they get everything dialed in, because coins are. I was talking to one of Derek's friends the other day, and he has a bunch of coins from all over the world and things like that. And I said, and he's 12 or 13. He didn't quite understand. He just thought they looked cool.
Yeah.
I said, think about it this way: if those coins, because one of them was from the 1800s. Wow. I said, if those coins could speak, what they could tell you. It would be so neat. And so I kind of wanted him to mainly imagine what the possibilities were, because one of them, they were from I want to say Germany. They were from Europe or something like that. I said, just imagine that came down. Another one that he had was from his great grandfather, something like that. I said, imagine if those could talk. Yeah. And I was just trying to get him to kind of think broadly and. Yeah. Kids need to imagine. They don't do that enough. Everything's imagined for them with all these stupid games and stuff. So, I just wanted to do that. But it is, and I kind of think about stuff like that too. I mean, what if I got a penny from even 1963? Yeah. What has that penny seen?
Cool. Yep, exactly.
I mean, those types of things.
I used to do that as a kid too. I'd come across like a penny from the 40s or 50s thinking, whoa, this thing is really old.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And anything that's old like that, I kind of do. And if I can get any information on it, and I don't know, it's fun to escape every once in a while into the kind of what if type stuff. Yeah. So. Well, that's the heavy lifting here on the hot sheet. Now it's time for the freestyle. I think we're going to lead, though, with our opinion on the Bezos situation, just for fun.
Yeah, I had that noted on that Amazon thing, and I forgot to bring it up. So
I purposely didn't bring it up there. I wanted to have this be part of our own segment here. So, for anyone that doesn't know, Jeff Bezos is he's getting a divorce after a trial separation and quote unquote much exploration, which
isn't it loving exploration?
Loving exploration,
that was
yes.
Because
when it came out yesterday, I saw it and I read that and I thought to myself, I'm like, wait a minute, what does loving exploration have to do with you getting divorced? What are you exploring with your wife? Well, you're not exploring anything with your wife. You're exploring it with the wife of another man.
Yeah.
Who happens to be Lauren Sanchez, who was a news anchor or something like that. She was called a busty news anchor, which is
her husband is
a huge
Hollywood agent.
Yes, monster like Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, guys like that. I mean, so I'm sure he's got a side chick or 50 too. Yeah. I'm not too worried about him, but when we talk about the financial situation, and they were talking about this on CNBC, because Washington State is a community property state, everything gets split down the middle, and they were talking about the impact that this is going to have on his voting power in Amazon, because he's going to be taken from, I think it's 16%
right.
down to 8%.
Right.
That's pretty incredible, and that lowers your power in the company. So I'm wondering if there's going to be some way that they'll balance that with cash, but you have to look at what the future value of that is going to be, and if she'll get some kind of alimony payment, whatever it might be. Is that kind of stuff is pretty interesting.
Yeah, I wonder almost if the lawyers will try to do like a settlement type of deal and just cut her a flat check, as opposed to trying to, make him sell off stock. Of course, I don't know how much of his assets are liquid as opposed to, wrapped up in the stock. But, if you cut her a check for $25 billion and say, see you later, and then he gets to keep his standing in the company kind of thing. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out.
Well, if they said he's worth $135 billion, right, I believe. So right. we're looking at what, 67 and a half?
Cut it in half.
Yeah, $67 billion. But you've got to look at what the future is going to bring. I can't see, short of something major happening in the world, why would Amazon go down? I only see an upside for them. And so you've got to think that, maybe she's going to get a check cut for $100 billion and, looking towards the future earnings and things like that. But that was, because he has made all that money in the 25 years that they've been married. Yep. That is incredible. And
they had a quick brief on the news, last night about their real estate holdings. They have like 4 penthouses in Manhattan in 4 different buildings. They got 4 penthouses in Manhattan. Their main
he needs a place to go.
Their main residence up, I forget what city, it's just a suburb right outside Seattle is where their main residence is. That whole compound is $70 million for their main residence, plus the 4 Manhattan penthouses. And then they own a couple like Caribbean island homes too. So I mean, they've got 7 or 8 homes. So are they going to have to sell all those and split the assets on those, or is she going to get the rights to 2 of the Manhattan penthouses, or how's that all going to work?
Talk about thinking about crazy stuff and imagining what it's like to have those kind of problems. It just shows you though, money doesn't solve problems at all. Yep. It regardless of how much money you have in the world, you always are going to have something dog you. And I also found it fairly interesting that somebody released text. It was the National Enquirer. Somebody released a bunch of text, and they had been tailing Bezos, or I still don't know how to pronounce it.
And I hear it both ways all the time. Yeah.
They were tailing his private jets and things like that. He was flying around, and I'm fairly convinced, and this may be a non-PC thing to say, but he looks like a white Kermit the Frog. I'm sorry, he does. If you look at him, because his eyes are always like this.
Yeah.
And if you're on radio, so you can't see me, but I don't think he's stoned, although he is from Washington, so he could be. But he just has this look like, hi guys, it's like that's all I see is Kermit the Frog trying to sell me, underwear and deodorant. That's all I see with that guy. But no, he's definitely a unique individual. You never see him speak. All you see, he's like a Sasquatch.
Yeah.
You just see him walking in a news conference or something. That's all you ever see. I mean, when I was watching CNBC, they didn't ever have him speaking. It was just him walking. I'm like, where the hell is this guy walking all the time? I don't know.
He's like a male Aunt Bunny. Had to throw that one in there.
A male Aunt Bunny. I hope Aunt Bunny. Oh no, here we go. Yeah, for those that don't know, that's from Eddie Murphy Raw. If you haven't seen that movie, first of all, I feel sorry for you, and second of all, go out tomorrow night, have a couple cocktails, watch that movie. It's a life changer. So anyway, well, since I commandeered the first one, what do you got for me?
So we're going to go in hot with the NFL action this coming weekend.
We are going hot this weekend.
We got our Vegas consensus lines and the over-under.
I like what you're talking.
I want predictions from both of us. I'm going to log it down here, and then we'll revisit it next week and see how we did.
Okay, I like it.
So first up, we got Indianapolis at Kansas City. It is Kansas City by 5.5.
I will take Indianapolis all day long.
Just straight up?
No. Well, I get the spread, but okay. No, I think that, I mean, if it was a money line bet, it's probably going off at Indy probably plus 170 if I had to guess. But
right.
I think Indy's going to win. I really do. I think Indy's got, so yeah, I mean, I guess straight up. I think Indy, I think that Kansas City's defense is not good enough.
I agree.
And I think Indianapolis is good enough with the combination of Patrick Mahomes not being, just not having the experience in the NFL playoffs. If you guys watched the playoffs last weekend, they are so much different than, say, your run-of-the-mill Week 9 game or something like that. The intensity is ratcheted up, everything is. And all these high-flying teams, what were all the scores? I think that most of them, the Seahawks and boys were 24-22, mm-hmm. and that may have been the highest scoring game.
Yeah, there was something else that was really low. I'm blanking out now, but yeah.
But it's just a completely different animal. So whether you have a quarterback that is not, even if he's at home, it's a different feel. And the other thing is that Indy's offensive line is dominant. Yep. And they have one of the best statues standing back there chucking the ball around. Yep. Andrew Luck is, yes, he's a hell of an athlete, but he's your more prototypical 6'6" big guy standing back there chucking the ball around. But when he wants to lower his shoulder, he can. Yep. What do you think?
So then the other half of the equation is the over-under. It's at 56.5.
In these playoffs, I'm going under.
Yeah, good call.
I'm taking the under.
So with me,
and life is too short to take the under. But if we're looking at this, in reality again, absolutely.
So with me, I'm gonna go out on a limb and I'll say that Kansas City can cover that 5.5.
Okay, but you think Indy's going to win? You'll take the points. I mean, if we're going to look at this straight up, who do you think's going to win?
KC. I'll go KC.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I'm with you. I'm taking the under on that. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
So our next game is Dallas at the Rams, and that is Rams 6.5. So what's your thoughts of that?
Oh, wow. I would probably take the boys in the points, but I think the Rambos are going to win.
So you want
if I'm going to break it down by the game, I think that the Rams are going to win, but I think it is going to be.
Cover.
I don't think they'll cover though.
Okay.
So I would take.
So Dallas with points.
Dallas on the points.
Okay. And then the over under on that guy is 49.5.
I'll take the under on that one too.
Yeah.
I don't care how flying that offense is. Dallas's defense, minus the knucklehead that plays their right defensive end. What the hell's his name? I can't remember. He screwed up
for the Rams.
No, for the Cowboys. Anyway, but the Cowboys have a legitimate defense, even though Seattle may not have the most prolific offense. They still have a good offense, and they basically shut them down. Russell did what Russell does and brought them back. But what I loved was the bad beat on that game. On the Cowboys and Seahawks because the spread was 2.5, and because Jana Fatsky
pulled the hamstring.
They had to go for 2 every time. Yep. So it ended up being 24-22 and killed
classic.
it. And I think it killed the over too.
Yes, I think you're right. So I'm gonna copy you on that one. I feel the exact same way. Sorry. I'll take Dallas with the points, but I do think the Rams will eke it out, but I don't think they're going to cover. Yeah. And then I'm with you on the under on that. Under on the 49.5.
The one caveat I will say is that I think that not that I'm going to change what's going to happen in the game, but I do think that the Rams are so good at home, and I think that they're hungry from losing last year, and McVay wants to be, not verified, but he has to. He's the new hot guy, not new, but he's the hot coach in the NFL, all that kind of stuff. I can see them on, there's a 10% chance that they go out and they just smoke Dallas because Dallas sat there in LA and smoked blunts and drank 40s all day long or whatever you do. But I can just see that them being happy because that's what Jason Garrett is. He's a one playoff win guy.
Yep.
And I think that there's a possibility of that.
So next up we got Chargers at New England, and that's New England 4.5.
I think the Chargers are going to win it all.
The whole banana?
The whole banana.
Wow.
I think this is. I know we'll get into this down the road, but I think that Phillip Rivers, it's his time. I like the guy. He's got a lot of moxie and grit, to use a whole bunch of cliches.
A lot of kids too, right?
Holy moly, he's got number 9 on the way. What the hell is it like having a baseball team at your house all the time? My goodness.
So are you charged with the points? Are you confident they can just...
no, I think they'll win.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Chargers straight?
Yeah.
Okay.
What did you say the line was?
4.5.
Yeah. No, okay. I think they're going to win straight up.
And then the over-under is 47.5.
I think that one could go over.
Yeah,
I don't know why I have a feeling about that, but I got a feeling that they could go over on it. Even though the weather is going to be horrible.
I haven't looked at it. Okay. I totally forgot about that.
So wait, maybe I'll take the under.
You want
now
to
that I think about that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna take over on that, so we'll differ on that. And then I'll do I'm gonna hedge it and say I'll take the Chargers with the points. Because I don't know.
Really?
Yeah, I don't know. It's New England. I know Brady's ready for the retirement home.
Yeah.
but they always
is Bill coaching for his job? Hot take.
Yeah, but they always seem to get lucky and pull this junk out. So I don't know.
They pull their junk out.
Yeah, that too. So I'll do the Chargers with the points, and I'll take the over on that guy.
Okay.
And then our final
because it's supposed to be like 16 degrees.
Is it really? Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Snowing or just
yes. I think there's supposed to be snow involved. So we both may want to go with the under on that one. But
I'll stick with over just for the heck of it.
Just for the heck of it? There we go. Don't take our advice, kids. Yeah. We are not professional gamblers. We'll make sure you guys all know that.
And for the final one is Philadelphia at New Orleans.
Well, I know where you're going to go.
Yeah. And
I think New Orleans is going to smoke them.
It's a huge line on this, 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's big. So that worries me a little bit.
8.5?
Yeah, it's big. It's big.
Well, I think that New Orleans, I think they're going to win. So that's a monster number though. In the playoffs. I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he can do it. That Breeze can do it.
So
I'm going to take the win. I'm going to give him the points.
Yep, and
I know you are.
Yeah, and my reasoning behind it is I think they can turn Philly one-dimensional. That is, it's a double-edged sword for Philadelphia. Well, for the game itself, is the Saints have a very good run defense, and Philadelphia's run game is not that good. So they can wipe that out and force Philadelphia to go through the air the whole time, making them one-dimensional. So then they can play with 5 D-backs and playing in nickel coverage the whole time, get an extra safety out back, and I think they can shut them down pretty good.
I'm not one that buys into magic or any of that BS, but Foles does have something.
Yeah, that's what worries me about this whole thing.
I mean, look what he did. And that was going to be my next thing. We can just roll or keep it with this. Parkey is 2 inches away from winning that game, or a fingertip away, because it was considered a block. My thing is, here's my biggest deal. Why, when they know they can hear the whistle blowing, why do you waste your good kick?
Yeah.
When you know that they're calling timeout?
I think it's the old adage of when a batter calls time, you don't want to stop your motion as a pitcher, you just go ahead and throw the pitch, even though the batter calls time.
Then kick through it. Don't kick the damn ball.
But then, it's ridiculous. Because as you're kicking through it, you're expecting to meet force. So if you just do a swing and a miss and whiff it, then you might pull a hand because you're not, you're swinging through on something. So that I think, yeah, exactly. So one other thing is the over/under on the Saints game is at 50.5, 50.5.
I think that could turn into a shootout. Yeah. So I'm going to go on the over.
Yep, me too.
I think
Breeze can put up 50 by himself.
Oh, so. Yeah. Well, we've seen it.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is why I love gambling.
Yeah. But the Foles thing worries me because he is magic. It just you stick him in there and he just goes nuts every time.
In the playoffs, yeah, not so much in the regular season.
But the thing that gives me a little hope, being a Saints fan, is the fact that they do not have a dominant run offense, and the Saints are very good against the run. So, like I said, I think they can shut down that part of the game and force them to be one-dimensional.
So who do you think is going to the Super Bowl? Let's call each week. We'll do this. Next week we'll do the same thing. We'll say, okay, with the 4 teams that we have. Who do we think is going to go to? Or no, we have 8 teams right now.
8 teams now, yeah.
Who is going to? We won't get into the championship games. Who do you see going to the Super Bowl?
So the 2 teams off our field of 8 that are going to go. I like Chargers, Saints.
Me too.
Yeah,
that's my pick.
Yeah.
So I think that could be a lot of fun. We'll have to think up some kind of fun challenges.
Yeah.
Speaking of which. I was going to talk about Parkey, but the challenges thing I wanted to talk about. So I posted a video to Facebook last week, which I will put on the post for this, of me eating a couple of habanero, whatever, peppers, because I lost a bet. So in all of the discussion and everyone laughing at me like usual, which is why I reposted it was a memory. Somebody, I believe your wife may have brought this up, that we should do this on air.
Yeah.
And that we should be, and then more people were like, hey, we should, I think Andy and Cassie were saying we should do another challenge. I'm open for decent challenges. I'm not up for challenges. Now, mouth pain through, I don't know why I keep hitting that, through eating hot things and stuff like that. I'm all right with that. I'm not into hurting myself.
Physical pain.
Yeah, like jumping off a roof. And
right, yeah.
Some of this crazy shit the boys show me people do on YouTube is bananas. And I know that it's all clickbait and all that kind of stuff.
Jackass stuff, right?
Yeah. But even, I mean, Derek showed me this video of some guy, and I'm sure it was set up, but this gal came up, Tia said it was Hojo that said that. This gal came up and said, if you want to get my phone number, you got to jump off this pier. Homeboy strips his shirt off, this is down in California, and bails off this pier. This isn't just like some, 10-foot deal. This is like 30 or 40 feet up. I'm like, and like I said, I'm 90% certain that it was completely staged.
Yeah.
But still, you're risking a lot. Because if you look at it, he just strips it off and woo, off he goes. He didn't look down over it or anything like that.
Wow.
But it was, so I'm up for it if you are. And I think that it would be pretty damn funny because it was pretty funny when I did.
Pepper-wise, like hot peppers?
Yeah, I think that this is, I would like to, that's why I brought up the friendly bets for the Super Bowl. I think that might be a good bet for that kind of stuff is we can use challenges. We'll use that kind of stuff as bets and then we've got to pay it off.
And then I think we need to make sure we've got a blender full of margaritas on standby.
And nachos.
Yeah.
Okay, so do you want to start it for next week? Pick a game. We each get to pick a game this weekend. And the loser has to eat 2 habaneros.
2?
Yep.
Is this cumulative? We're going to do this or just for this weekend only?
Well, and then we'll do it next week.
So then
but we'll change the bet next week. It won't be this.
Okay, so if I lose out, I got to eat 6 habaneros? No,
because we'll pay it off each week. We'll pay it off on air each week.
Oh, man.
Oh, shit.
Oh, man, I don't know.
Oh, come on.
2. I maybe 1, but 2?
Yeah. Let's make it, if we're going to do it, go big or go home. Trust me. It hurt. I didn't know what to expect when I did it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I think got me was the first, because the capsaicin takes a little time to spread.
A little delayed, yeah.
And so I didn't know what to expect because I've never eaten a habanero without, I had no reason to. Right. Why the hell would I do that? There are people that enjoy that kind of stuff and they're crazy. They probably jump out of airplanes too. But it just caught me off guard because at first, and if you see me in the video, I'm chomping down on those things. So I eat one of them, I crank the other one down, and I'm like, man, this isn't that bad. I'm internally in my head, this little running conversation I have. And all of a sudden, it was like somebody just lit the back of my mouth on fire. It was, woo, buddy. But it makes for good content.
Yeah.
And that's what we're in this for, is the content game, right, kids? So, are you up for it? You got to go too.
Wow.
Now, you can pick them out, though. So, they don't have to be big, because that was the deal, is they picked them out. My cousin, it was a weight bet. That was
but
back
half the time, the smaller they are, the hotter they are, too.
Well,
so
that's on you. It's the risk that you take.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
we'll look at him. Come on.
No, I'm trying to think. So we're picking a game off of this weekend's game.
Yes, we'll pick a game this weekend. You can pick any game you want, and you get the spread and all. Just straight up like your normal bet, and then no, actually we have to pick the same game, obviously, because you're going to be on one side and I'm going to be on the other. Right. So which game did we disagree on?
We did. It was the Chargers Patriots. And you said Chargers straight up, and I said Chargers with the points.
Well, no, we'll go with the spread. So which game did we disagree on that had the with the spread? What was our picks on the Indianapolis KC?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, we disagree because you said Indy straight up, and I'm saying KC. I kind of hedged myself. I don't know if I'm with the points or not, but we can just go straight up Indy versus KC.
Okay. Yeah, we'll do that. I'll take Indy, you take KC.
All right.
Book it.
All right.
Shake on it.
Oh, boy.
There we go.
There it is.
That'll be fun next week, kids. Everyone tune in to www.facebook.com/Kinetic Chaos Productions to watch Wes's mouth on fire.
Are we having frozen beverages on standby?
Hell yeah, we're going to have that. We may have to go Moscow Mules, though. Or I don't care. We can go either one. I just don't have any... Do I have any crappy tequila? Has some really good tequila that Sean brought me. Do you like tequila straight up?
Yeah.
Then we'll have some of that too, because this
I like
shit
the
is good.
I'll go to Sonic on the way here and get like a big old 44-ounce slushy.
No, don't
put out the flames.
Oh, you're killing me. No, we'll have a cocktail.
Right.
I will allow one cocktail
Prime it
beforehand, and then we can do it. Can't have two, and I'll make the drink so it'll be a decent one. But I think that'll be fun. We'll just kind of switch this up. It won't be something that we do every week, but every once in a while I'm down with that. I like having a little fun in that route, and I think everyone else will enjoy it as well.
Here's to hoping that luck blows an Achilles in the first quarter.
Hey, you never know. That could happen. So do we have any other bets that we covered them all there?
Yeah, we did. That was it. Yep.
Sweet. So the next thing I've been that I wanted to talk about on the old FreeStyle here. So I've been going down these Twitter black hole rabbit hole things on conspiracy theories. There is a world of Twitter that I don't think people quite understand exists. Like the normal like world out there. And it is absolutely insane to me.
It's the Alex Jones crowd, right?
Exactly. Yeah. It is bananas. Do you know people that are like, and we don't have to use names or anything like that, but I mean, and we don't even have to get it if you know anyone. But have you ever done that? Have you ever gone down that rabbit hole of whether the alt-right, alt-left, doesn't matter, just conspiracy theories in general?
No.
Like the QAnon and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, the whole faking the moon landing thing.
Yeah, whatever it is. I mean, the world is flat, any of this stuff.
I just can't buy into that, so I don't even really want to venture and read into that because it's just so far-fetched and ridiculous.
Well, I'm always interested in why people... What is, again, the reasoning behind it? I like to know why things happen. I have a natural curiosity for that. Like when I was in high school, I did a lot of projects on drugs. Not that I was interested in drugs. It was I wanted to know what why people got involved in it. Why are you turning into a cokehead or meth or whatever? And so it's the same thing. What is it that? And so I actually I would balance the conspiracy theories that I was reading on these crazy ass websites, and then I went out and I to understand what like 4chan is. So 4chan is it's an encryption thing, or it's for anonymity.
Right.
It's a 2-channel deal. Anyway, you guys go check that kind of stuff out. But why people do this and why these conspiracy theories continue to live on in the minds of folks, and it's because there's always plausible deniability in every single thing, and it's built in. Yeah. So whatever they say, if it doesn't come true, they always have an out. Mm-hmm. And it's so intriguing to me and I'm sure that there are some things that out there that we don't know about that are pretty messed up. Right. I mean, I really do. I believe that. But like you said, the moon landing, or that these other, whether it's political or physical, whatever it may be.
But it's also like the herd mentality. If you buddy up with a few people that think like you, and you're in your own little vacuum, and you just play off each other, and then you just go down that rabbit hole and get yourself locked into something like that, then you can't see reality anymore because you've chosen to surround yourself with the like-minded folks, and there's no objectivity.
Well, and that was one of the big things that they talked about, was how people insulate themselves. Yeah. What they're searching for, who knows? But what they find is they're found inclusion in something that they think is of a higher importance. They believe that whether it's a secret society like the Illuminati or QAnon, whatever it may be, the moonlanders or birthers, doesn't matter what it is. They find that they are part of something big that it gives their life meaning to some degree. Yeah. And I can understand that. But go find, I don't know, start crocheting or something. Because what I was also finding as I got into the psychology of it, was how they begin to shut people out of their life, or people just flat out stop talking to them. how they, I mean, even family members.
Yeah, because it was one off the deep end and just write them off.
I mean, there was one where I was reading that. Is that you or me?
That's me.
Okay.
Some spam phone number.
I was reading one where a gal, this was all on a Twitter thread, and her daughter told her to fly a kite and stop talking to her.
Wow.
Because of all these things that she was putting on, and this was an Alex Jones type thing and whatnot. But all the crazy stuff she was putting on Facebook and whatnot. So then I kept reading, and this was actually, I was reading somebody that follows it. It was a QAnon and all that, right. Again, Alex Jones crowd, and the way that they were basically cheering her on to start another Facebook account and keep her real one, but in the dark, or all these other crazy things, so that she can continue to spread her message. But again, they're constantly chasing the proverbial tail.
Yeah,
they'll never, and every once in a while, something may get proven. Like what was it? Not Socrates, but who is it? The philosopher that they say predicted.
Nostradamus.
Nostradamus, and I think Da Vinci had something to do with it as well.
Yeah.
But or having all of these prognostications when the world is going to end and all this kind of stuff, but. Then all they do is come up with something else. Well, this didn't happen, so now this means it was just a chain of events. And all.
Exactly.
I just find that whole thing to be incredibly interesting.
Yeah, it's weird and definitely a part of side of psychology that I can't even really wrap my head around, or
I can't do philosophy whatsoever.
Yeah.
Philosophy and I do not get along at all, because it's not something that maybe it's that I don't have the ability to think outside the box enough, but I think they're just batshit crazy. And I'm sure they have a lot of really cool things to say, and there are some things, philosophically speaking, that are important and things like that. But some of this stuff is just outlandish. But when you get into these types of conspiracy theories, and it's the psychology that I really enjoy. Mm-hmm. I love psychology, and so. But out of all of this, one thing that I really found to be cool is what I showed you last week, was that blog for the White House, Angry White House Staffer. So if you guys want kind of and supposedly, you got to take everything that you see on the internet with a grain of salt, but this is somebody embedded in the White House that works there, mm-hmm. that runs this Twitter account and a blog called the Angry White House Staffer, and it's kind of a peek behind the door of what really happens in the White House. I'll put a link to the blog in the show notes for this. In fact, let me put the...
and he's got some, it's not some just, again, we can't verify that it's true or not, but it's not just some guy spouting off a few talking points here and there. He's got descriptive, detailed stuff. I mean, he's got some legit posts and stuff like that. So I mean, it's not somebody just making up a sentence or two and posting that online.
And whoever this is... I thought when I first started reading it that it was a woman, but now some of it leads me to believe it's a man. Good job on their part for keeping us in the dark. But they do an AMA, and Ask Me Anything, dang near every week. And so the answers to those questions that they put on the Twitter feed, and then what he or she will do is expand upon those on the blog. And so, in fact, she or he they're moving the blog from a Blogspot host to an actual website, I think this week. So I'll try to link to that if he or she's got it up. But it's one of those things that, I mean, that little thing, if you take anything from our conversation here and just want to see a picture, it is completely nonpartisan. Just a look behind the door of what's going on there, and that, the news has all of their stories, which are all driven by clicks and views and things like that. But to get a little bit of a glimpse of the operations and what people really think behind closed doors is pretty incredible. Yeah. What else you got?
I got one more NFL one. Thought we kind of fun. Your top three, although I couldn't quite get three, so I had to do a 4/honorable mention.
Oh, you got more.
I couldn't cut it down to three. But so your top 3 or 4 biggest NFL draft busts ever.
Well, I mean, I think he's turned into a wonderful man now, but Ryan Leaf has to be the biggest.
All right, okay, I got him. So let's take from the bottom up.
Okay,
so.
You start because I need to think for just.
So my honorable mention, because I came up with my 3, and then I thought, this guy's got to be on there too. So he's my honorable mention. Is Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, I don't think he's as big a bust as there have been, but I think that if you look at his work and mainly his stature and the way he played the game, he was such a dominant force at A&M with his ability to rush and throw the ball. You knew that he couldn't translate to the NFL because you can't rush as a quarterback like that.
Yep.
And that's what he relied on. His game relied on the fact that if he couldn't make the pass, he could escape and get downfield. Well, when you have an outside linebacker that runs just as fast as you and a safety that's even faster, that's a different
It's
animal.
almost like a Lamar Jackson coming out of Louisville, and he's doing okay with the Ravens, but same kind of thing where he ran for like 200 yards a game. If you couldn't find somebody to throw to, he just took it himself. But you can't really do that in the NFL.
What do you think Kyler Murray's going to, just to go on a little bit
that's interesting.
Tangent. We can get into that another time, but I think if he's going to go first round, I think he has to go into the NFL draft.
It's a weak class this year, so I mean, it would make sense financially for him to go choose football over baseball, because the thought was all along is that he was going to give up football and stay with the A's in baseball. But
he didn't know he was going to win the Heisman.
Right, and that I think that coupled with the weak class of quarterbacks coming online here gives him a good shot at getting chosen fairly high. And the interesting thing is that the new Cardinals head coach Cliff Kingsbury,
Hot Cliff,
is a big fan of Murray, and he has said before, this was back before he was a head coach, said that if he could have a number 1 pick for quarterback, he'd take Murray. Well, now he's a head coach all of a sudden.
And Arizona sucks.
And they have Josh Rosen out of UCLA, who didn't do all that hot this year. So there now is speculation that they may try to deal Rosen and take Murray number 1.
They're never going to get the value that they have in two number 1 draft picks. They won't get what they spent on Rosen in terms of value 1-to-1.
Coming back too, because he had a bad first season, so you're just going to get a couple draft picks in return, and so you're not going to wash out with that signing bonus you paid him and stuff like that. So.
Okay, so biggest bust. I think that he's somewhat made up for it a little bit. Now he's a good ball player, but what he was coming out of college, Jadeveon Clowney, was absolutely an animal. But he single-handedly won. Now, I say won because the contract that he got coming out of college was much higher from one hit in that bowl game when he stopped that guy. Who knows how many spots that brought him up because he went viral with that.
Right.
I'll put him up there, and I don't know if I can rank my guys 1 through 3 or 4, but I think that Clowney could definitely be up there.
Yeah. Although he had some injury issues early on in his career, NFL-wise, so I think that kind of killed him a little bit. But he
is also overshadowed by J.J. Watt. But I'm just talking about how big he was coming out of college.
Exactly.
He was an absolute superstar.
Yep.
So
number 3 for me is Vince Young.
I think Vinny is not overrated, though.
Yeah.
I don't think he is.
I think for what
he went to the playoffs.
Yeah, but I guess in terms of, I'm thinking career longevity, is that he didn't stick very long. He won the Rose Bowl. Beat Matt Leinart out of SC. Texas versus SC in the Rose Bowl. He went nuts. Got drafted. I think was he number 1 that year. I can't remember.
I think he went 1-1.
Yeah. So. I guess just in terms of, because he had maybe 1 or 2 good years in the pros and then kind of fizzed out and he was gone after that. So I look at it as with Clowney, the huge hype coming out of college, number 1 draft pick, and then you have 1, maybe 2 good years in the NFL and then you're done. So to me, that kind of is kind of like a bust. I mean, it kind of
I think he's got some. I'm going to give you another, and I know most of these are probably going to be quarterbacks.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I got too. Yep.
I think Tim Couch is up there.
Oh man, yeah, you're right. I did not. I don't have him on my list. I forgot
Tim
about
Couch
him.
was. I mean, he was the cat's meow coming out of college, and when he went to the Browns. Yeah. But that's where good players go to die.
Yep.
I mean, absolutely. It really is, and it's, I don't think that's the way now. I think Baker Mayfield is turning that around. Yep. But I definitely think that in the last 20 years, 25 years, I mean, historically the Browns have been the worst franchise in the NFL. Yeah. And that's because of ownership. But I feel like that Couch has got to be right up there.
Yeah. So number 2 for me is Leaf. You already mentioned him. Again, the high-flying guy coming out of college, and then not only, and like you said, there's kind of been a little redemption, but not only flaming out in the NFL, then falling into the dark side of things and getting himself into all sorts of legal trouble and drug trouble and all sorts of crazy stuff. So.
But if there's anyone, I mean, if there's a poster child for recovery and turning your life into something amazing, if you follow Leaf at all, and I do, I've read about him and I follow him on Twitter and things like that. He really is, and he talks a lot about how bad of a person he was. Mm-hmm. And he takes complete ownership of his actions and things like that. And he really has turned the corner. And he readily admits that he was a bad person in college and in the pros, and he was basically a petulant child. Yeah. The entire time, and now he's completely flipped the script and he's great. So that's a good thing. So yeah. But he was. I mean, if we're just speaking NFL career, I mean, can you imagine if he would have been chosen instead of Peyton? Yeah. I mean, just those types of things. I mean, that butterfly effect in life is so incredible sometimes. Number 1 for me, or was that your? Yeah,
that was 2.
Yeah, it was 2. So number 1 for me, I got to think about that for just a second. Because there's been so many that when I think about places that people have been also overrated and come out has got to be in Detroit. Detroit has been notoriously bad, but we could probably go actually Brian Bosworth.
Yeah, going back a little ways. Yeah,
to go back quite a ways. The Boz coming out of OK State, he was a game changer. And people like Steve Entman, all those guys were wonderful in college. But the Boz was bigger than life. Oh yeah, I mean, he really was, and he was he had a few good years in Seattle, but not what he was marketed to be.
Kind of to me, that's kind of like the Vince Young thing. Mm-hmm. High flyer coming out of college and then gave you a couple good years and then he just disappeared.
But at least Vince Young, like I said, he went to the playoffs and I think he won a playoff.
I think you're right. Yeah.
So I mean, that to win a playoff game in the NFL is not. I mean, if you're going to the playoffs, number 1, you're incredible. You've got to have some kind of talent.
Right.
And although Trent Dilfer did go, but. That was a defense, but he was a game manager, and so Vince had to have some talent. I think the value Bosworth brought just wasn't that good.
Yeah. So my number 1, Jamarcus Russell.
Oh, I didn't even think about Jamarcus.
That's a biggie for me.
Boy, that guy got paid.
Yes, he did.
What did he make, like $100 million or something? I'm sure he's lit most of that on fire.
Yeah, probably so. That's another guy that had just all the talent in the world written all over him, and then just flamed out when he went to the Raiders.
Yeah, he was a flaming onion there. Yeah. Man. He stunk.
Yep.
Bad. Oh, that was... Yeah. I've heard some crazy stories about that guy, too. I mean, athletically and off-field. But, I mean, to hear people that have been around him, like other quarterbacks and stuff like that, to hear the ability he had to throw a ball, whether it was from his knees or whatever. I mean, these... were good NFL players, and they were like, this guy was, he was a machine. Yeah. So that's a good one. That's a good number 1 there. Yeah. I really like that one. So, you got anything else?
I got nothing. That was all she wrote.
That was a good show. Well, thank you guys out there in Facebook land and in podcast land for listening. As always, go to our Facebook page, Kinetic Chaos Productions. You can find us on the Twitters, on the Instagrams, all of that good stuff, kineticchaos.com. I'll have the post up tomorrow for this. Listen and subscribe, please, to our YouTube channel and to iTunes as well. Mm-hmm. And everyone have a wonderful week. You got any big plans this weekend?
I don't think so.
We're going to dinner tomorrow night.
Yeah, that's big.
We are.
Big.
Wes and Tia and Kim and I are going out to dinner tomorrow night. So you never know if the cocktails start flowing, what may happen.
We could wrap that into a food review.
Yes, we definitely could, and I think we should, and maybe a cocktail review as well.
There you go.
We could just go live right from the restaurant. Hey everyone, I'm 5 Moscow mules into this. Let's get it on. So, well, with that being said, this has been Kinetic Chaos Podcast number 70. Anything else?
Tune in next week to watch Will eat 2 habaneros. On air.
I've got 2 fingers on my left hand, and Wes is going to have 2 habaneros in his mouth.
All right, we will see.
We will. We got Facebook, thank you very much.
Thanks, guys.
I'm going to take this off. I'm sure I'm making all kinds of racket.
So as I just mentioned, tune in next week because somebody is going to be eating a couple of habaneros, and this chair just sunk.
Not this guy. See you later.
See ya.